This week, the Jaguars look to bounce back. Their toughest test of the season is on deck.
They are a spread offense. They can dink and dunk you and pick you apart.
Jeff Loggeman takes us into the film room to show pass rusher Josh Allen's impact.
The whole objective is to pin the hip of the tackle.
And we tell you what kicker Matthew Wright was up to before those clutch kicks in London.
It's just a lot of coding, C++, MATLAB.
I have no idea what that means.
Good side gig.
All that and way more ahead on Jaguars Weekend.
This is TIAA Bank Jaguars Weekend. TIAA Bank, turn potential into progress. Geico, saving people money on car insurance has been in Geico's playbook for 85 years. Visit geico.com today and see all the ways you could save. And Cadillac, visit your local greater area Jacksonville Cadillac dealer.
I think it just goes to show if you don't come out and ready to play and you don't play well, this can happen to anybody any week. You know, it doesn't matter who you're playing. You just gotta play well, and we didn't. So I think that's the. It's not concerning. Obviously, for me, it's not. I just because I'm in that locker room, I'm with all those guys, and you see how hard we work. And I know probably from the outside looking in, it might be, but it's not concerning. It's just can't let this happen again for sure.
It was just a really bad game in Seattle. The Jags need to go back to the drawing board to get ready for a very good Buffalo Bills team coming to town. Hello and welcome to TIAA Bank Jaguars Weekend. I'm Ashlyn Sullivan. This week, the Jaguars need to have a very short memory. They need to forget about the 12 penalties and 31 points given up to the Seahawks. Sunday, the Jags welcomed the AFC East leading Buffalo Bills to TIAA Bank Field. The Bills have the best defense in the NFL and lead the league in turnovers. It's time for the Jaguars to get it together and play much better than they did in Seattle. This game against the Bills is one of the toughest games on the schedule. Despite the challenge, the Jaguars have the same approach they always do.
Every week, any team can beat you. You see the Seahawks had lost a few in a row, and we came in and laid an egg, played terrible, and they killed us. So stuff like that, every week you come ready and play your best to win. And so doesn't matter who you're playing, that's the motivation, is that you can get beat any week, and you can beat anyone any week.
If the Jaguars want to win on Sunday, playmakers have to make plays.
You need speed. Do we have enough? It remains to be seen. Do we have enough to hit some big plays? Sure. It's just we got to execute. Hagnew's got elite speed. Marvin Jones plays much faster than maybe a 40-yard clock, and Dan Arnold is one of the faster tight ends that we've seen. So there's speed on the field. We just got to execute.
On defense, they have to get to Bills quarterback Josh Allen. No other player wants to sack Allen more than Jaguars defensive end Josh Allen.
No, I'm excited about this one. It's not just because of who we're playing against or him, but just the team and how that team's been playing of recent. And I think it's a good opportunity for us. I wouldn't want anything else but to bounce back on a good team like this. You got to take one play at a time, man, and really execute the calls and really go out there and make plays.
Veterans, choose VA for the benefits you earn. Visit choose.va.gov. We're here in the huddle with Sexton and John Oehser getting ready for a big game here in Jacksonville against the Buffalo Bills. And Brian, we talk about this game all week, and there's this nervous connotation when we talk about this game because we know the realistic expectations. Two teams, just very different rosters.
In completely different spots, Ashlyn. That's exactly right. The Bills are one of the best teams in the league. They're certainly, right now, the best team in the AFC when you consider that Derrick Henry's on the sidelines in Nashville and Patrick Mahomes isn't playing very well. It's a measuring stick game for the Jaguars, but based on the way they played in Seattle, we kind of know where they're at. They're not playing very well, and they lack key players in certain positions. So what this is the Bills are a couple years into building this franchise, and they're in the spot you want to get to. We're going to find out on Sunday how long it's going to take them to get there.
Well, when you're a struggling team like the Jaguars are, there's 2 or 3 games a year that when you look at, it just doesn't match up. The Bills are the number 1 defense in the league. They're not the number 1 offense in the league, but they're pretty close. They're dynamic offensively. Jaguars, none of those things. I think the key for the Jaguars, there's been talk recently about no margin for error for this team. They have to play extremely well without mistakes, opposite of what they did in Seattle, to keep this game close If they do that, they can. If they don't, look out.
The biggest worry I have is the secondary, and secondaries continually targeting Tyson Campbell. This week, I worry about that, Brian. The big plays could for sure be there.
Here's what we know. The Jaguars were so committed to Tyson Campbell that they traded away C.J. Henderson, who was their best cover guy, who, when they drafted him last year, you thought you were drafting him for matchups like this. At this point, the Jaguars don't have that one guy that they can say, you go take care of number 13 and get him out of the game. So you're relying on Tyson Campbell's development at this point.
Well, I don't think that we can rely on the secondary to cover until we see the secondary cover. They haven't really done it yet this year. They've done it in spots, but there's also been, large parts of each game where they haven't. So I think it turns to, if your secondary is struggling there, you've got to get pressure on the passer. They did okay in that area against Seattle for the last quarter and a half. Maybe they can bottle that, take it forward. If that's what the Jaguars defense is becoming, what we saw late in Seattle, then maybe they have a shot to disrupt at the line of scrimmage. It'd be good going forward. It's paramount on Sunday.
Yeah, and you look at this matchup, and we go back to 2017, the wild card game here in Jacksonville. It was one of the best memories here in Jaguars history. And Brian, you mentioned it, the difference in the franchises. This is the perfect model for the Jaguars to follow, and you feel a little bit better because they can check the box that they have their franchise quarterback.
Well, I mean, you're talking about two very similar markets, two very small markets. They now have their quarterbacks, right? The Jaguars have to make good decisions with the draft picks, and then they have to protect their cap and use free agency in a reasonable way. But if they follow the model that's being laid out for them, as a smaller market team especially, there is an opportunity to build a long-term winner.
Yeah, I don't want to overplay it because they're not quite there yet, but the Bills, to me, feel like a franchise that knows exactly how they want to play. They draft to it. They sign free agents to it. That's what we need to see from the Jaguars moving forward. They've got their quarterback, but that's got to be the model. What are you as a franchise?
Now it's time for Finding Solutions, presented by UF Health, delivering compassionate care and world-class outcomes. Visit ufhealthjax.org. Running back James Robinson is day-to-day with a bruised heel, looking a little optimistic that he will play against the Bills. But more so, Brian, how do you balance this offense? Trevor Lawrence dropped back 54 times against Seattle, and Coach Meyer said, that's not the way we want to play offense. We got to figure it out.
Well, just for your question, I'm just going to assume, and this is just an assumption, that James Robinson isn't 100% on Sunday. So then you have to use the pass to set up the run. I would find a way to get the ball in the hands of Dan Arnold and Laviska Shenault. This offense is limited in how far down the field they're going to be efficient passing it, but if they can use the passing game to back the Bills off the line of scrimmage and then start pounding, you got to be balanced. You're just going to have to use what you've got in the passing game to establish the run.
Boy, I hope James Robinson plays because he's the one thing that you know what you're getting out of. If he doesn't play, it's incumbent on Carlos Hyde to be what they wanted him to be coming in. They have a lot of faith in Carlos Hyde. He's shown it in flashes. Against this Bills defense with the Jaguars receivers, they must run. I think it's up to Carlos Hyde to be the guy they thought he was going to be.
Yeah, you need your best players on the field to compete with a team like the Buffalo Bills. So we will see what happens. Much more to come here in the huddle with Brian Sexton and John Oehser. Coming up on TIAA Bank Jaguars Weekend, we're in the film room. We'll show you how Josh Allen is making an impact. That's next.
Jaguars Weekend is presented in part by TIAA Bank. Turn potential into progress. And by Geico. Saving people money on car insurance has been in Geico's playbook for 85 years. Visit geico.com today and see all the ways you could save.
Tried to build on the momentum of the win because we played pretty decent in London, and offensively, Trevor had one of his better games. And offensively, we played better. Defensively, played better, and just went backwards. I did the positive. We held him to 60-some yards second half, had 3 sacks. Our defense kept swinging it, just placed in a horrendous field position. But defense hung in there, against some talented receivers and talented players.
It was the tale of two halves in Seattle. The defense played much better in the third quarter, but it was not enough to turn the tide. Welcome back to TIAA Bank Jaguars Weekend. I'm Ashlyn Sullivan. Josh Allen had 5 tackles and 2 sacks against the Seahawks. Allen is getting better and starting to become the player the Jaguars thought he could be. Jeff Loggeman shows us why in the Cadillac Film Room.
Play fake. Geno Smith drops. Tries to scramble out of there. He's going to get sacked by Josh Allen. Josh got him again. He's had a good game.
Welcome into the football lab, and Josh Allen got his second sack of the game on something called a TE. Now, it's an interesting play because it's a 2nd and 12 situation in which the Seahawks run play action, which most defensive linemen aren't thinking a run play on 2nd and 12. They're thinking, I'm pass rushing. But that's a conversation for another day. But with the play action, they're trying to get receivers deep to get a big chunk yardage play, and they're showing this run play. It's essentially a lead play with a tight end leading the way on the running back. The guard and the tackle are kind of on an island with the center going the opposite way. What is a TE? T is first, tackle is first. Taven Bryan gets vertical up the field in a big, powerful way, and he takes the guard with him. And the whole objective is to pin the hip of the tackle or get vertical quickly. Josh sells the upfield perfectly. You go up the field a certain way, plant your foot, and loop around and come back underneath. And it works absolutely perfectly. When Josh comes underneath, Geno Smith has absolutely nowhere to go because he's on him in such a hurry. This play action hasn't developed. Let's take a look at it. Here on the snap, let's focus in on the TE. Taven's first, the tackle's first, does a good job of powering the guard up the field. But look at the job that Josh does. He sells the tackle shell that he is going to go up the field. But then he plants that foot, comes back underneath in a hurry, and it's a downhill cut for Josh Allen because Taven has taken the guard so far up the field. Geno Smith has nowhere to go. Sack number 2 on the TE. Now that wasn't the only great play by Josh Allen. Let's take a look at some others. Josh's first sack of the ball game, the tackle Dwayne Brown trying to show a little play action and an aggressive block to get Josh thinking, oh, it's a run. But Josh, you can't fool him. He takes on Dwayne, swims to the inside too quickly for the guard to even be a factor, and then he's in the face of Geno Smith immediately and brings him down for sack number 1 of the game. And Josh has been good against the run as well. Josh is the left outside linebacker in a stand-up position, and he's got Disley, the tight end, lined up on top of him. He stacks him up. He sets the edge as an outside linebacker. And when the running back tries to jump to the outside, not many linebackers / defensive ends have the agility to run down a running back. But Josh Allen does. Nice sure tackle and a tackle for a loss.
The holiday season is upon us, and the Jaguars want to make a positive impact. Last week, we celebrated Halloween with a trunk or treat event that made for a special night for youngsters in costumes. It's this week's Baptist Health feature.
Everyone is getting in the holiday spirit, including the Jacksonville Jaguars. They hosted an event with the help of Fields Cadillac Jacksonville. It's the first year of the Jaguars Trunk or Treat, a special night for over 250 children. Jaguars linebacker Miles Jack provided the Jaguars swag for all in attendance. The captain doing good during the holidays. Former Jaguars tight end Kyle Brady was in attendance, as well as the roar of the Jaguars. They joined in on the pizza party and all things Halloween. Hundreds of children were in attendance from the Boys and Girls Club of Northeast Florida, local Army Gold Star families, and Blue Star families. They went home with tons of candy, as they should. For Jaguars Weekend, I'm JP Shadman.
There's more to come on TIAA Bank Jaguars Weekend. We go off the field with kicker Matthew Wright to get to know a little more about him. That's next.
Yeah, so the first one, I actually thought I missed it. I was about ready to walk off the field, and then I saw the O-linemen turn around, and they were all happy, so that's when I realized it went in. But yeah, the second one felt a lot better, made a lot better contact, so just happy they both went in.
Whatever it takes, Matthew Wright's 54-yard field goal was a crazy turn of events, and one that will be very hard to forget. We're back on TIAA Bank Jaguars Weekend. Kicker Matthew Wright joined the team a little over a month ago. But before the game winner against the Dolphins in London, not many even knew who he was. Well, now the city of Jacksonville knows all about Wright and what he can do on the field. But let's find out what he's up to off the field. Join me as I catch up with him in this feature presented by Dreamfinders Homes.
Cook puts it down. Wright kicks it up. The 53-yarder is good, good, good.
We're here off the field presented by Dreamfinders Homes with kicker Matt Wright, and your life has changed greatly in the past month. You're making game-winning kicks in London, and now you're here full-time as the starting kicker. You had a chance to just kind of take a deep breath and be like, wow, this is happening.
Yeah, I mean, the bye week kind of timed up nicely to give me just that little bit of relaxation and kind of let that past weekend get to the past, focus on the next game and the next practice.
So before interviews, this is going to sound weird. I look at your Instagram, I look at your Twitter, I do a lot of research. And when I researched your name, your LinkedIn page comes up. And you had a legit job a month ago at Lockheed Martin, which is an aerospace company. I don't even know how to describe it. So what was your job before this?
Yeah, I was a systems engineer, so it's just a lot of coding, C++, MATLAB. Not too exciting, but
I have no idea what that means.
Good side gig.
Yeah, I would say so. So when this happens, you get a call, I'm guessing, to come try out for the Jaguars. Do you tell your boss, hey, I'm going to do this, I might not come back?
So they actually have been super helpful with me for quite some time now. So I was actually on a leave of absence when I got the call for the workout, and then yeah, everything's just working out, so I told him I wasn't going to be coming back.
That moment, kicking 2 50-plus yard field goals to win the game, end this losing streak that has been going on for so long. What was that moment like? I mean, Coach Meyer said that he hadn't even heard you talk before that moment.
Yeah, a lot of people are asking about that. I honestly don't remember. It was mostly a blur. As soon as I ran out there, I kicked it. But yeah, afterwards it was a lot of excitement, and I'm just happy I could help the team win.
And I saw your Instagram name is Matty Ice. Did this nickname come before the clutch kicks or after?
It was actually before. It was a friend in high school. I forget the reason why, honestly, but it's kind of evolved into the clutch kicks now, I guess.
Okay, so it was Matty Ice before clutch kicks.
It was, actually.
Okay, fair enough. And Shaq Griffin was telling me that he didn't even watch the field goal because he knew you were going to make it. You guys are teammates at UCF in college. What's it like to have that connection? I mean, I'm sure it helps that he's a team captain and you come in here.
Yeah, I mean, that was awesome. I mean, just having a familiar face whenever you're somewhere new. I walk into a locker room and I don't know anybody, so really good to he was kind of the first person I actually walked up to and said hello. So yeah, it's just nice to have that, and especially that he's a captain. He's a presence that has my back.
Yes, absolutely, and I would be safe to say that you now know a ton of your teammates after that big moment?
That is true, yes.
Okay, so take me through, I know Trevor Lawrence was talking about how you guys shared your story about this previous job after the kicks. Who else have you maybe gotten close to on this team?
Yeah, that was funny. Trevor was like one of 3 people I told that I had a job before, so it was kind of funny that he brought it up in the interview. But yeah, just a specialist or a tight-knit group, and then just hang out with a bunch of guys.
Yeah, okay, and I see that you are engaged, married, yes?
Engaged, yes.
Engaged, okay, how is wedding planning going? And 2 dogs, of course.
So she knocked out wedding planning in 5 days, and I didn't do a thing. It was a dream come true. And then the 2 dogs are great. They're both little puppies. They're a lot of work, but they're a lot of fun.
Nice, and are they living here with you?
They're in my studio apartment right now, so it's kind of crammed, but it's good.
A studio apartment?
Yeah.
Okay, what area of town?
San Marco, right there.
Very nice. Okay, well, welcome to Jacksonville. Welcome to the Jaguars. Thank you for joining us for Off the Field. Still to come, Brian Sexton and John Oehser are back with what the Jaguars need to do to be competitive this week.
Pull up, we up. Offense up. We up. Check the field, buddy. Keep chopping wood. 3rd down, now let's execute.
Trevor Wright fires. That ball is going to be caught, and that'll be a first down for Jacksonville.
Well, we execute on 3rd down, bro. Let's go. Let's lock it back in, cuz. Let's get it. Go, go, go.
Left tackle Cam Robinson mic'd up against the Seattle Seahawks. You can check out all the mic'd up features on Jaguars.com. Download Ultimate Jags now from the App Store and Google Play for a chance to win weekly prizes, including game tickets, autographed merchandise, and more. We're back here in the huddle with Brian Sexton and John Oehser. Quickly, fellas, one guy you're paying attention to this week.
Cam Robinson. They bring a lot of different pass rushers off the edge in Buffalo, especially 6'7" rookie Greg Rousseau. Cam Robinson's going to need to be at his best on Sunday. He's going to see a platoon of guys coming after the quarterback.
Yeah, I guess I'll go with Josh Allen, the Jags, Josh Allen. Really looking at the entire front 7 for the Jags because they've got to get pressure on this Bills offense. It's the only way I think they can win. But Josh Allen has been playing much better the last 2 weeks, turning into the guy we thought he was going to be. maybe this is the game against his namesake that he can break out and maybe show the rest of the NFL how well he's been playing.
Yes, you want the Jaguars to stay competitive against a very tough opponent, their toughest opponent of the season, the Buffalo Bills. Thank you for tuning in to Jaguars Weekend. We will see you here next week.